IG. How you doing? Miss E here. I am just going to take care of a couple of quick housekeeping items. Going to give you the topic for today. Hey, Shannon. All right, I'm just trying to get some things taken care of here, making sure I list this information like it's supposed to be done so it helps out everybody. Hey there. Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I see you, Alicia. What is this? What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. I'm just putting in my information here to see about making sure I do this correctly. There we go. I did it. Yay. Pin the topic. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining me today. I am Miss E, the author of the book and workbook, Are You Sure That You Are Ready? A Singles Guide to Preparing for Marriage. I am the baker behind Miss E's Glory Loaves, and I am the organizer behind Miss E's Home Reorganization. And I am also a certified relationship coach in the areas of relationships, premarital, and marriage. If you'd like to set up an appointment for a quote or to do a consult for some coaching, you can always call me or email me. You can also go through the DMs and hit me up there, and we can make contact that way. Don't have a problem with that. If you want to put it in an order, same way. All of my websites are connected to each other. So if you go on the one for the book and the coaching is Are You Sure That You Are Ready, which is all the way spelled out.com. The Glory Lows is glorylows.webs.com. And the organizing is helpmeorganize.webs.com. Okay? I can usually set up, all the quotes are free. When we do if you purchase the book and workbook, then you get a half an hour free coaching session, and then we go from there. So all the kind of ways to get in touch with me. I do try to make it a point to announce when I'm going to be at different events, so that if you wanted to stop by and support, you can. And that's also leading into the topic of discussion for today, Vending 101. Not long after I started my businesses full time, because I didn't do it so much when I was doing it part time while I was working a full time job. What I started doing, I had met originally with a business coach, and he was somebody who I had met at a vending event, which I found out about through a friend of mine who knew that I had my product, which was the cinnamon raisin bread, and they wanted me to take part in an event that they had going on. It was a chocolate jazz fest, and it was out in Lorraine. And so I said, oh, okay. And so she told me how much the tables were, and they were within my budget. And so I went out there. While I was there, I was introduced to a guy who was known to be a good business coach and everything. It's like, if you have this guy on your team, you'll do some things. So I said, oh, okay. So him and I got to talking, and then it went from, because his wife was actually interested in the bread, and then he was considering wanting to work with me to see about taking my business to another level. So I said, oh, okay. And then I was also willing to offer them some organizing as well, because the wife was going through some stuff, and it was going to come across as a good help for her as well. So we were going to be working together on both sides. So I met with him, and he asked me about what was I doing, both for the book and other areas of businesses, and was giving me different tips and information as it relates to there. And he threw some things out there, Some I was interested in, some I was like, not so much. I don't think that's for me. Because one of the things that you have to know when you're in business and other people are making suggestions to you, and I know they all mean well when they do, you have to consider what will work for you and your business, or in my case, businesses. But you have to know you. You have to be honest with yourself, what you are willing to do and what you think may not work, and all those kind of um, intricates that you need to know, those little details, because they will make a difference later. If you find yourself doing all kinds of things later on down the line, yeah, it would take you completely off of what you're supposed to be doing. The reason why you got into business, because you're doing what everybody wants, but it's not along the guidelines and the goals that you set forth for yourself and your business. So you have to always keep that in mind. Another point of note I would suggest is making sure you utilize discernment when it comes to working with people. There's that. I remember just not too long ago, I think it was earlier today, I was listening to one of the quick messages Steve Harvey was doing through his Hey Steve, and he made mention about women having this thing called intuition, the women's intuition. So now, guys, I can't speak if they really have it or not. He said they don't have it. It's the same as, it's different from a woman's. So I always say use that discernment, use that voice inside of you, that gut feeling, if something feels right or it doesn't. And that's when it comes to you working with people and dealing with people when it comes to your businesses. So in working with the business coach, he suggested that I go and do events that would give my brand an opportunity to get seen by other people and things of that sort. So I said, oh, okay, I'll consider it. Now, one of the first events that I did was at Hartville, which is a flea market out in Hartville, Ohio, which is near Canton, outside of Canton. Now, from my house, that's a little over an hour away. And for the time that you had to be out there, because you had to get there early, you had to pay for your spot, you weren't guaranteed a spot. It's first come, first serve. And it was an outside event. Well, it was out. They have outside and inside vendors, but the inside was pretty much already locked. And so those coming in new could be on the outside. Now, the way it worked out that day was that I happened to be, though I was outside, I was in way of the door. So I had traffic that was flowing through and the weather was okay. Now, this was one of the times where I started taking note of what I could learn, what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. Because he threw all these different things out there and I said, okay, I'll try it and see. Anywhere from having little samples to, how the table was set up, things of that sort. And he just threw some things out there. Now, one of the things I learned in working with him was that he was not really familiar with how this really, truly worked. He was just throwing ideas out there. And so I had to actually find out what was going to work for me. Now, I went out there. I could appreciate the experience. I did not go back because it did not suit well for me. I don't like going outside. Now, I did do it again some years later for another venue, but it was a local church, and I had done some things with them prior, and it had always been good. But it was after that event that I realized me and my glory loaves do not. Yes, I was vending my loaves at the time, Stephanie. Yes, this was all about the loaves at the time because I hadn't considered incorporating any of the other businesses into the vending portion. And it was about exposure at that time for the bread, since that was probably the area I felt most comfortable taking out on the road, if you will. So with that, I made it a point to, when I did the other event, it was outside. It was a hotter day. I want to say it was like in July. And I had called myself being prepared for it. I had bought one of those gazebos, the big thing that you were supposed to tie down, but it was an outside parking lot. And though part of it was on grass where I was located, the other part was not. So this is where it played a part that was not beneficial for me, because it took one good gust of wind and the whole canopy thing blew back and ended up breaking. And then come to find out, the place where I got it from did not allow returns through them. You had to ship it off to somewhere else. And for the cost of it, yeah, I just wasn't going to do all of that. So I didn't like the heat being so exposed to the bread, because one of the things I found out and realized is that if the bread is exposed to heat too long, it dries out. Exactly. So that was a costly lesson. But I was able to stand for a minute afterwards when I would be, I know, right? So once I made up my mind in that, when I would get offers for outside events, I would just nicely decline. And I had one coordinator was trying to be insistent. Was like, well, it's so much exposure and this, that, and the other. I said, look, I appreciate that and I understand it. However, me and my loaves, we don't do well outside, hot or cold. We're just not going to do it. Sorry, I can't do it. Now, if you have an inside event, call me. We can talk about it. But outside in the elements, because I don't like it when it's too cold, and then my loaves don't like it when it's too hot. So we're just going to stay inside. Everybody's good. So that was one of the things. So it's like, know what works for your business, what doesn't. And vending back then, when I first started out, there were a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of trial and error. Right, exactly. So in doing that, I found that a lot of events, a lot of venues didn't necessarily fit well with the loaves as well. I can't go to everything. Everything doesn't match well with the loaves. And that's one of the things you have to consider when it comes to vending. Is this your ideal market? Are these going to be your customers? And not to say that they won't be later, but this may not be the event or the venue that they're going to really take notice of your product. And so I did a few of those, and then you have to make sure you stay within your budget, whatever your budget you set for how much you want to pay for a table when you go to an event. And I've had offers where they can go anywhere from $25, which for the most part for a lot of local events, that's typical, especially depending on the size of them. But then they can go as much as anywhere from $100, maybe even $200. And for some, that's fine. They can work that out, and you know that you will recoup that at that event. Great. That is wonderful. Do it. But for me, that's a lot of extra hard work in some cases, especially if it's just for one day. Now, if it's a 2-day event, that's different, because then you have the first day, you should be able to recoup back the vending table, and then the next day should be profit primarily. Usually if it works out, if you know the traffic is going to go well and the people are going to buy the product. And I can say that's one of the good things about my business, at least with the Glory Loaves, is that 9 out of 10, even if it's another baker there, usually they're doing cupcakes or cookies or something along that line, and no one has the same bread as that I do. And people will call it little cakes, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter, but it's something different. And so that's one of the things that sets me apart. So competition is not a factor for me overall when it goes there. And then I know me and how I set things up, and I offer something different. And then I have learned to utilize my personality in order to draw customers over and talk to them about their products. And then I found too that the bread has a scent that captures you as you walk past. So a lot of times, I don't even have to say anything. I can just stand there and look cute and smile, and they come right on over, and they start talking to me, and they start asking. But here's the other part that I learned too. Your display, your table, that is key. Now, you cannot create a whole lot of clutter with a whole lot of stuff. I don't care how small or big the table is. It needs to look neat. It needs to look clean cut. It needs to look clean. You need to look clean. You need to look like you came ready for the event. You don't have to be in a 3-piece suit or anything like that, but you do need to look like you are representing your brand and repping it well. You can't come there looking like you just rolled out of bed and said, oh yeah, I need to go to this event today. Please don't do that. Please don't do that because your customers can't take you seriously. And when it comes to especially a food product, you need to have the look of clean if you want people to eat your food. Because if you don't look well kept, they're not as tempted to want to come over and taste what you have. Because they're like, if this came out of your kitchen, I don't know. I don't think so. So those are some of the things to keep in mind. So you set your table up. You don't have to put all your different items out there all at one time. You give them a couple of different options. You can tell them about the other things that you offer because that's when you engage in the conversation. So you can do that, but you don't have to put everything out on the table. Literally, you do not have to do that. Just a few simple items. Make it simple as you replenish depending on the type of products that you have. Don't keep them all on the table. Keep them out of sight, neatly up under the table or behind you, depending on how the place is set up, and just replenish accordingly. If you're an author, which is one of the things I also do, you put a few books out there, but you don't have to put all of them out there because it overwhelms somebody because they feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff over there. They want it to be simple. It's not a store. It's a table. It's a display, a short display showing what you do. You're just showcasing some of the things that you do. And if it's just one thing, then you do it well, but you don't have to put everything out there. Okay? So keep it simple. Look the part. Make sure you research the venue. I'm going to go back to that because last year, maybe year before last, I did an event at Beechwood Mall. It was a 2-day event. It was Saturday and Sunday. Matter of fact, I want to say it was in March, the end of March. And the prices that they gave for the tables was great for Beechwood Mall and for 2 days because you had all day. You had all day Saturday and all day Sunday to vend. So you had all this public at your disposal, all these customers possible. And so it was like, okay, great. So this is some different exposure. This is a different market. Here's one of the things I found out. Now, I am aware enough about Beechwood Mall and what comes with Beechwood Mall. Now, for those of you who do not know, Beechwood is a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. It is considered more of an elite suburb, meaning these are people who have money and who like to spend it, but they are particular about it. Beechwood Mall has been around for a minute. It has a lot of high-end stores. Saks Fifth Avenue. Victoria's Secret, though it's not necessarily considered high-end, but they have the market. You have MAC. You have Nordstrom. Different little places like that. So you have all these different considered high-end stores in a primarily Jewish type of community. This is their market. This is where they are. So this is where they shop. So you need to know that coming in. Now, this was open to people all around, and it was supposed to be all small businesses. Now, what I come to find out, it was some people who were either just starting out or were just trying their hand at vending. And so their displays were not the best, and they did not truly consider the market that they were coming to. Now, this was a vending event. This is not a flea market. Now, at a flea market, you sell whatever you want to sell. They expect that at a flea market. You can sell your household stuff, this, that, and the other, all kind of mishmash type of things. That's what you expect at a flea market. At a mall, at Beechwood Mall, they don't do that. They don't do that. They want similar items and products that fall in line with Beechwood Mall. Okay? So there were some people there who had like African apparel and things of that sort, which would be fine if you knew those were the type of people that was going to be shopping there. That's not who your market was. You had some that had so much. Some people even tried to sneak in and have 2 tables worth of stuff. They told you 1 table because you're supposed to keep it simple. There were some people there who looked like they had just rolled out of bed and saying, oh, okay, I'm coming here and set up this table. And then they were disappointed when they did not get the patronage that they were expecting. And some people assume, well, you have food, so people are going to buy that because they're hungry. No, they don't have to. Now, I was fortunate that they did, and it didn't matter where you were in the vicinity because all of it was high traffic. because it was people that weekend it was flooded with traffic. Now they did have a couple of issues by one of the areas because the escalator stopped working, so they had to reroute traffic. So that did affect some of it, but overall, no. One of the other vendors that I know, and we've popped up at a couple of places pretty much since the day we met, Rebellious Beauty. Now she's there. Now she has all kind of bath and body products, shea butter and bath bombs, things of that sort, right? She's right there by a couple of major stores. She did quite well both days because her product, her display was nice and very clean and very detailed, and she talked to the people. She wasn't out in the main center there. She was down in one of the hallways and she did quite well. Some people felt like, well, if I'm not here, I should be down there to make it happen. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you do what you do and you do it well, it doesn't matter where they put you, you will succeed. Okay, so keep that kind of things in mind. Hey, Zay, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you keep all these type of things in mind, especially when it comes back to recouping the vending table. Hey, Miss Pam. The other thing, and I'm gonna. Oh, okay, great. Make sure you keep in mind what you're going there to do. It's one thing to go to expose. Make sure you go to interact and meet with the people if you can, not only the coordinators of the event, but also other vendors, because you never know what they have to offer. You may want to purchase their stuff. They may want to purchase your stuff. It's an experience for you too. It's a great networking opportunity. You'll find out about other events that way. You want to make sure you also do your share of advertising. Why? Because your customers would like to know where you're going to be. Let them know. So you do your part. Now, the coordinator should do their part, yes. But as a vendor, and you're coming, people, your audience should know as well. So you do your part to spread the word and then make the most of it there. Now, if things don't go quite like you planned, you didn't recruit quite as much as you had hoped for, take it for the experience that it is. You were able to expose your product to a new market. If there were some things you could learn to do different, do that. Enjoy meeting the people because you just never know. I've come across a lot of the same people at different events, no matter where they are. And I think that's pretty cool because you are already feeling comfortable at the event. It's like, oh, okay, well, so-and-so is here. Great. But then if you do not know anybody else there, get to know someone. It's not really hard. That's part of the whole thing because you're always talking to new and different people going to these different events. So that's part of the whole thing. So if you are more introverted, but you're owning the business, you're going to have to step outside of that comfort zone, that quiet, shy part, long enough to make you some money. Because when I started out, I was not a fan of it. I was thinking, I'm not sure if this is really what I want to do, but I like to eat. I've grown accustomed to having a roof over my head, being able to drive my car, a little simple, but for some not so simple things to have and to do. So therefore, I like to keep these things going. So what I need to do as a business owner, for doing what I got to do, then that's what I'm going to do. And it's been working. So that's what we're going to continue to do. Because people ask me, well, how do you find out about these events? I started off by searching for them. Between social media, you can search hashtags for Cleveland events or vendors, or you'll see different posts where people say they're having an event and if they're looking for vendors. If they don't necessarily post it, ask them, inbox them, or ask the question on their post. Are you all accepting vendors? How much are the tables? And they'll tell you. And so then you decide if you want to go or not. That part is not hard. That's the easy part. Now you getting up and going, you showing up, that's going to be the other part because it can leave a bad taste in people's mouths if you purchase a table, say you're going to come, and then you don't show up. No call, no show. That's a waste of space for them. And you feel like, well, I paid for the table, but yeah, they could have had someone else there, especially if you're involved if your business is of the working with the network marketing, those type of businesses, you're stopping someone else from being able to fill your spot. So you're holding up, you're stopping a lot, and a lot of them don't like that. And so then they won't want to work with you again because you're not filling in your end. You're not showing up. So you have to show up and show up like you're showing up to do. Okay. So keep that in mind. Help spread the word on that. Um, so yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that I took time out to address this because it was asked of me. Somebody asked, like, how do you find out about these events? You seem to be going everywhere. I just ask, and sometimes people come and ask me. They're having an event. They may have seen what I do. They may have seen me at an event, or they just see what I post because they see what I do. Because that's the other thing. If people don't know what you do or that you're interested, how would they know to ask? How would they know that you're interested? You have to let them know. And so people ask. I'll tell them if I can or if I can't, depending if I, already have an event scheduled for that day. I'll just let them know. And if I can, I say, please keep me in mind for future events. And they do, especially if I think it's going to be a good event. And if I can go back to one that I've done before, that's even better because then that market is already exposed to you. They like seeing you and they're looking forward to you coming back, which is what you want. And so even though they may not follow you, they look forward to you. And don't be afraid to step outside of your city. Okay. Now, I live in the Bedford Heights, Solon area. I'm not going to just stay in that area with my product. I'm going to go, what is it? I have an event later this month in Rocky River. So I'm going to go over there. There's an event I've been able to go to now for their past. They have at least 4 events a year. One in May, one in June, October, and December on the west side. I did it not too long ago. It was February. They have one. But I met them like during the summer in July last year. I did so well. I sold out. Sold out first time. So, of course, I had to go back. And they wanted me to come back. Because a lot of them, some of the other vendors were looking forward to buying the product. Not even so much the customers that were coming in, the people who were already there. So, it was a great win-win. So, they look forward to me coming back. And I dare not even try to say I'm not coming. They're like, well, she not coming. And somebody actually posted, if she's not coming, I'm not coming. Now, that's the coordinator. Now, we can't really have that, can we? So, but that also just speaks to the interaction that I had with her because I did what I said. And so I'm able to go back there. I was able, now I still have to pay for the spot to go, but it's worth me paying to go. It's no problem. I can let other people know they can come meet me and it's great. And they have both inside and outside. I stay inside. Remember I said that. I know me. Now there are others who are outside. You can do that. I'm staying in. Thank you. So, but here's another thing. I went out of town. I went to Michigan. I met somebody because I did a search on Instagram, found out about some events in Michigan, connected with one of the coordinators. Turns out she knew some people and they were also having events. So that one turned into some other ones. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to hit you up, Zay, to find out what's going on Wednesday. We'll have to check that out. So I will. So I went out of town. Friend of mine, Lena from Rebellious Beauty, she was the one who told me about it. And I was like, well, because I asked her, how do you find out about the out of town events? And that's when she told me. And so I did that. Now, her and I were supposed to go together to this event. And she ended up double booking. So she couldn't go. Fortunately, I don't mind traveling by myself. So me, my car, and my Lowe's nicely hit the road up to Michigan. It was in Detroit, so it was only a couple of hours. It was a day drive. You go up there, then turn around and come on back home. So, and that's what I did. End up not only, now, the event itself, I didn't sell out or anything, and that was fine. Hey, Lena, I was just talking about you. You must have heard me. So, but I met other people there, connected with them, who were also having events. And matter of fact, 2 of the ladies who were there, they ended up coming down to my coffee and conversation less than a month later because they found out about some of the other things that I do. And they said, oh, we'd love to support you. And they just came right on down and they joined and then they turned around and went on back home that same night. Now I said, now that was pretty cool. So I was able to go back, and if people were having something later on, I was still able to go. I didn't mind going out of town. That was one of the things that Lena and I were talking about is how some people they're scared to leave. It's like, it's the same thing as here, just different. So it was like, if you can go, just go. It's okay. So step out of your comfort zone on that. Go out of town, meet some new people, expose your product to a whole nother market. It's a great thing to do. Yes, you are, man, pretty versed in this, but it's because of you that I felt like I was inspired. So why not help tell the others? so, so I covered everything that I think I could for tonight. If I think of anything else, I will bring it to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now or even later. Um, like I said, I am Miss E, the baker, organizer, author, and relationship coach. I can be reached either via DM, my websites, or phone. Um, I will tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow might be around the same time as today, but we shall see. And we'll go from there because tomorrow I go to work. Sorry about that. So, right. They should know because we've seen so many faux pas about vending. And so I just would not like to continue to see. I want to help wherever I can. That's my goal. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Bye.